Greetings, family. Welcome back to Healing for the Culture. I am your host. You already know what it is. Ivory Shields. This is where we have uncomfortable conversations and we teach you the tools that you did not learn in school. Family, you are listening to iHeartRadio's ATLTalks.com. Woo! Okay, family. So today, first of all, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Lover's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. What else is going on? Let's see. I think the most prominent thing is that it is the day for lovers, everybody. This is Valentine's Day. And there's a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different points of view. People are having many different emotions about Valentine's Day. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope that you feel loved. And love starts with who? The person in the mirror. Yes, indeed. So, if you're single out here in these streets, y'all, love yourself first. It's okay. It is okay. All right. Listen, I've been single on Valentine's Day for several years, and I'm not anymore. So, isn't that something? And Captain Daryl laughs. He gives me a little chuckle in the corner over there. Captain Daryl, how are you?
Wonderful. Absolutely fabulous. Actually, it's a great day today.
Seriously. It is. I can tell your energy is very different. It feels like these flowers that I'm looking at.
I love flowers.
I do too. I love flowers. Captain Daryl has a nice, beautiful bouquet of flowers in the studio today, and we both share the sentiment of loving flowers, fresh cut flowers. So that's wonderful, and he feels really light and good, y'all. He has very good energy today. Always in the studio, of course, flying our plane per usual. So today is our 19th show, I believe.
19th, I believe it is.
This is the 19th show, family. OMG. I can't believe it. I'm almost at 20. Y'all know when I first started, I said when I get to show 25, I am going to stop counting. So today I am by myself, family. So make sure that y'all call in today, okay? Because I want to delve into some real good juicy conversation today, y'all. I want to talk about, since this is the day of love, this is Lover's Day. I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation. I'm excited to talk about this. And, like I said, I hope y'all are having a great Valentine's. I'm having a good one. And like I said, if you're single, if you're booed up, it doesn't matter. Enjoy being with you. And enjoy loving on you. Take yourself out for a date. Cook your own self a nice candlelight dinner, okay, at the house. Buy your own self some roses. I did that for myself. And the best way to line up with a relationship or partnership that where you want to see that love reflected back at you is to do those things and embody those things for yourself. I put a post on my Instagram today where I said that is the best way to attract and magnetize relationships and partners that exude or show you the love that you want. And it's different for everybody. So, which brings me to our topic today, y'all. One of the topics that we're going to be talking about, which are the 5 love languages. Woohoo! Yes. So that's going to be exciting to talk about, y'all. But really do the work, going back to what I said, really doing the work on yourself to embody that thing or that love that you want to experience in a relationship and in a partnership with another person. Because as I've said before on this show, as I say on all of my platforms, we are reflections of each other. So people who we are in partnerships with, relationships with, people we line up with, we're simply reflections of each other, y'all. It's really like looking in a mirror, reflecting back at us. And so when we're loving on ourselves and we're taking care of ourselves and we're prioritizing ourselves, the reflection that should be showing up in front of you and the reflection that resonates with this work that you've been doing to take care of yourself and prioritize yourself, it should reflect back in that same way. That person is going to prioritize you. That person is going to love you and show you love in the way that you like to be loved, in the way that you feel loved. And you will do that for each other, because remember, we are reflections. So what you do for that person does for you. It's a reflection. So yeah, we're going to get into the 5 love languages, y'all. We're going to talk about them. And then, or first, before we get into that, y'all, we are going to talk about the 2 different phases of the healing process that makes for a very successful or a successful relationship. I'm not going to say or partnership. I'm not going to say very successful, but successful and healthy. There are 2 different phases I feel that I've seen that really is, that I've seen kind of unfold even in my own experience for healthy relationships. So let me give y'all this call-in number, because I want y'all to call in and give me your feedback and share your stories with me. 818-860-9223. Family, make sure y'all are call in. I want to know what y'all's thoughts are and what your feelings are and how you doing on Valentines, and how are you loving on yourself? If you're single, how are you loving on yourself this Valentine? If you are in a relationship, call in and I want to talk about your thoughts and how you have used the 5 love languages in your relationship. Okay? How this resonates with y'all. So, okay, the phases of a relation, of healing, the different phases, the 2 phases of the healing process that really lends itself to successful and healthy relationships. One is your acknowledgement phase. So that is, or awareness phase. That is the phase, I would say, let's call that phase 1, where, okay, you know that you got some healing work to do. Like, you got some triggers. You're showing up in relationships and taking everything personal, or you find yourself like, so, and I'll just use my own experience, everybody. And family, call in and tell me what your experiences have been too. But I know I would say for myself and women I've spoken to, and even men I've spoken to. So for women, we show up, with trauma. Number 1, I'm going to, a symptom. Here is evidence that you probably have some unresolved trauma that you need to be aware of. So what I said, phase 1, awareness. One of the things that I see being women showing up in relationships trying to be super duper independent. And ladies, y'all know that does not work. It just doesn't lend itself to a mutual a relationship where two people are mutually trying to take care of each other and serve each other and put each other first. So showing up, trying to be super independent and taking care of everything and doing everything on your own and not asking for help. I read a quote one time that said, being overly independent overly independent is a trauma response. And it is. Because what happens is, or how that happens is, when you experience trauma, especially childhood trauma, you're in, let's say you're a child, okay? And I'm just using my own example from my own experiences, not having my father around. So when you grow up with that experience, it's like, oh man, I got to do everything to make sure that I'm safe and I'm taken care of. Like, I can't rely on anybody. I can't even rely on my own father. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us have that experience. So when you're a child and you're in that developmental phase of your life, those are like, that's the foundation that you get. Like, okay, I can't even rely on my own father, the person who created me, to take care of me. Okay, so I know I got to do whatever I need to do to take care of myself. And so you become overly independent. Same thing if it's a mother who's absent. Or if it's a mother who, didn't provide a stable household. So, you constantly feel like, man, I can't trust anyone. I can't rely on anyone to do things right, to show up for me. I don't have any expectations of anyone. I got to do it all myself. Y'all, that's a trauma response. I'm going to just let y'all know. Okay. That is a super duper trauma response. The second thing that I see, just my own personal experience, y'all, being in this masculine energy, and remember we're talking about phase 1 awareness, being in this masculine energy where women, I'm speaking for women, y'all, I'm just talking about me, y'all. This may not resonate with y'all. I might be the only one out here, y'all, who's had this experience. I doubt it, but showing up with this masculine energy and wanting to be right all the time and wanting to prove your point all the time and not knowing when to be quiet. Can anybody relate to that? Or is it just me? That was a hard one, y'all. And I still, I'm a work in progress, okay? I am a work in progress, but learning to not always have to have the last word and learning to walk away from arguments and not take it personal and not feel like, oh, he's not gonna, I'm just speaking for in a heterosexual relationship because that's, I'm a heterosexual woman, but listen, these same rules apply in same-sex relationships, okay? Don't get it twisted. Same-sex relationships have the same issues, the same problems as a heterosexual relationship, okay? So don't get it twisted, y'all. But having this feeling like, oh, he's not gonna have the last word or make me feel like I don't know anything or I don't know what I'm talking about. I want to say my first instinct is to say, ladies, let that go. But guys, you do have to know as well too when to, pick your battles. But I think women, I think we struggle with this, y'all. Especially if you are you're a woman with a strong personality. I think we can struggle with this a little bit, ladies. So that's been a lesson for me. I don't know about you all, but it's been a lesson for me. And I'm trying to think of some other things that really just kind of pop out at me in terms of like trauma response and being aware, and also being aware of your triggers, like what triggers you. Oh, and I was gonna say taking things personally too, y'all. Not to take everything personal. Just showing up and having conversations, uncomfortable conversations without. And when I say taking things personal, not being so quick to feel attacked, to be on the defense, and just absorb what the other person sitting across from you is saying to you, or trying to express to you, or trying to share with you, or just trying to point out something about you that may not be great, that you don't even see, and you it's just how you've been moving and how you've been operating, but it's not serving the relationship. It's not serving you, it's not serving the other person, and the other person is just calling attention to it. And so a trauma response is to take that personally and to be on the defense instead of just stepping back and looking at it objectively, not taking it personal and saying, you know what? It's not a personal attack against you. It's just saying, hey, we may need to explore this more. We may need to peel the layers back on this because, it's not serving you. That behavior or that attitude or that energy is not serving you. It's not serving me. It's not serving us. It's not serving the relationship. So that awareness piece, okay? That's phase 1, y'all. I know that was long-winded, but I like to give these examples because I think a lot of times we show up in relationships and we don't understand what it looks like, what that trauma response looks like and how it impacts our relationships. And I like to connect the dots, like giving the example of my father not being there, so you got to be Miss Independent now. Second thing, phase 2 is the healing phase, y'all. This is where you do the work, okay? All that work that you do in the healing phase, your counseling, your therapy, your art, your journaling, your dance, your singing, whatever it is, healing processes for different individuals look different. So, one modality or one strategy, one activity may work for one person that doesn't work for another. But whatever your process is, whatever the process is, it has to include allowing yourself to visit those moments. First of all, you've got to have some. That's that's another show. I don't want to go too far into that, but that healing phase has to allow you to feel all of that stuff. You have to allow yourself. This process has to allow you, your body, your spirit, your soul. It has to have the luxury to feel and the space to feel everything that you have been suppressing, that you have been pushing down. You know how you'll feel something in your belly, in your gut, in your heart, in your spirit, and you just push it down, push it down, push it down, put a lid over it. It's like, I don't want to feel that. So you may drink, You may, engage in addictive behavior in drugs or shopping or just avoiding it. Whatever it is you do to avoid, and we do many different things. We numb out to our pain, y'all. That's what we do as humans. That's what we do when we want to avoid stuff. We will numb out to it, whether it's with bad toxic relationships, just avoiding with many different distractions. But in order to go through that healing process, you've got to allow yourself to feel that stuff, to revisit that stuff. Now you've got to have strategies in place that will keep you from allowing those feelings to consume you and take you down to this dark hole where you just stay there. So that goes back to doing the work. This is all a part of that process of doing the work, y'all. Because you can't revisit and pull all that stuff up and you don't know how to come back from it. You don't know how to come out of it. So you do need a guide. You do need a coach. If you don't know what to do, if you haven't figured it out, y'all know I'm a coach. So call me, okay? Because I can definitely guide you through it, because it is a process, and it does take a certain amount of it's strategy, okay? So just know that that phase 2 is that healing process, doing that work. So during that time, y'all, you develop this tool bag. You develop your little emotional healing toolkit, okay? Where you learn all of these different strategies, these different techniques, all of these different interventions. You have all of these different modalities that you have collected in your toolkit, your emotional healing toolkit, okay? And phase 3 is when you take your little emotional toolkit, your little bag, and you meet up and you line up with with a partner, and you find yourself in a relationship. Phase 3 is learning how to use those tools, y'all. All these little tools and strategies and interventions and modalities and coping mechanisms and stuff that you've gathered during your healing phase, now it's time to apply those things. So now you get a chance to use you get a chance to open your little emotional toolkit, right? And you say, okay, I remember learning about this. I remember when I felt this way, I did this. And you're able to pull those things out and apply it to your current relationship, to your current partnership. Now, let me just be clear. This does not work if you don't have 2 willing participants. It's not going to work that well. Okay? So this conversation is, everything I'm talking about is for 2 willing participants who have done this work. And both of you are showing up with this emotional toolkit, and you're ready to apply what you've learned with this relationship. I hope that's making sense, y'all, because this is good. This is good, y'all. I'm loving every second of this, because this is good stuff, and these are the conversations that we need to be having. These are the conversations that we need to be having, family. So we are going to go to a break, family. Don't forget, call in 818-860-9223, family. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the 5 love languages. Keep it locked, family. Power to the people. Power to the people, y'all. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Welcome back, family. You are listening to Healing for the Culture. I am your host, Ivory Shields. And we are having a bomb conversation. I'm having a bomb conversation with y'all. I can't hear y'all, but I really do hear y'all. Like, in my head, I hear y'all. We are having a full-on conversation about relationships and healing and the healing process of going through of the healing process, a real true healing process that will lend itself to a healthy and successful relationship. So before we went to break, I talked about those 3 phases. And that's just my own experience, y'all. Call up, y'all, if you have something to add. 818-860-9223. If you have something to add to that healing, those phases. I say phase 1 is awareness. Phase 2 is healing, actually doing the work. A part of that work is like right now on Valentine's Day, Valentining yourself. Loving yourself, okay? Taking your own self on a date. Buying your own self flowers. Taking a bath by yourself. Lighting some candles by yourself. That's the work. That's a part of the work. That's just one example. And phase 3 is applying all that stuff that you've learned, all that knowledge, all those skills that you've developed. Because during that healing process, you are developing skills. You are developing skills to communication skills, skills on problem solving, skills on mediation. Skills on learning how to manage your emotions, skills on learning how to manage people. All of that stuff, you're developing skills. And those skills go inside of your emotional toolbox. Okay? So, I wanted to get into those 5 love languages, y'all. So if you have not heard of this, so the 5 love languages, Dr. Gary Chapman wrote a book, The 5 Love Languages, years ago. And I think it's such a great tool for couples to have. Oh, we have a caller calling in. Greetings, caller. How are you doing? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. This is Shahani Prescott.
Hello.
And I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello, Queen. How are you?
Hey, Boo. I'm well. How are you? Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Boo.
Thank you. I just wanted to, I've been over here getting dressed and nodding and giving you all the co-signing to your words of wisdom about healing and, the first, especially that first and second stage of healing. So I thought I would call in and chat with you.
Yes. Thank you for calling in. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So what did you have, so how does that resonate with you? I mean, did you have something to add? Like, especially, and I like to ask people this question, like, what for you, what was the thing where you should that made you say, okay, this is probably a trauma response? Like, what was that thing that you were doing, that behavior, that attitude that you had in your previous relationships that made you say, okay, I need to take a step back and I need to reflect a little bit and I need to do some healing work?
For sure. I think it was compounded from years. It started off with getting married young and not really healing from that relationship once I got single and started dating. So I found myself in the same pattern of relationships with men that, one, totally, Miss Independent, entrepreneur, I don't need you, I can do it all on my own. not wanting to be vulnerable was kind of my MO for a long time. So it was reflected in a lot of the relationships I chose where the men were not available emotionally for me anyway. So it just kind of reinforced that belief that you can't depend on anyone. They're not going to be there for you. And that's not true. It's just the men that I was choosing was just kind of reflecting that unhealed thought process that I had already kind of had and had not recognized and broken. Also, being a workaholic, just work was my numbing out go-to of choice. Yes. Working 15-hour days, you can kind of distract yourself, especially with what I do. There's always an event, there's always a cocktail, there's always somewhere to travel, so you can just be so busy that you don't necessarily realize that, hey, these relationships that I'm in and I'm dealing with aren't really edifying me, they're not really feeding my soul, but because I'm so focused on work, I'm not really paying attention to it. So those for sure. What else?
That's such a good one, though, and I forgot about that, but that is a big one, the work. We will numb out.
I think also putting that work into other people instead of myself. So I would try to save the men. I would try to encourage them and lift them up and, help them heal. But I have a spiritual coach who always says that when people are wounded, they're going to bleed all over you. And I'm over here packing up wounds on these men, but I was bleeding. And no one was really tending to my wounds, especially not me, because I was spending my time trying to overgive and not really ask for anything in the relationships in return.
Wow, that's so good and so insightful. I've said a couple of years ago, the Ivory's Rehab a Man Clinic is closed. I sold the business. And
right.
That business,
you can't do it. It doesn't work anyway. It doesn't work.
It never works. It never works. And I think, women, we get caught up in believing that we can rehab a man. And we simply cannot. And it's interesting, and I want to go back to the work, being workaholics, and I think that works both ways for men and women also. Because I think a lot of men throw themselves into their jobs, into their work, when they're having, when they're in toxic relationships or they're in relationships with women, and it's not fulfilling and it's not healthy. And to your point, when we are wounded, we are bleeding all over other people. And both of y'all just bloody, just
anemic.
Okay.
Low iron. Yes. On both sides.
Both of y'all need some iron pills and some chlorophyll.
Just sleepy. Yes, for sure. It took me a long time to realize that, and it was, you can't. What I realized is you can only go along that path so long before you run out of steam or you hit a wall or, it falls apart. And it's one of the biggest blessings in the world when that happens, because it forces you to really look at what's not working and make changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say, are you single or are you dating?
I'm single, and
she's single, y'all.
I don't think I'm doing enough dating to even say it's dating. Sorta. I'm open to dating. I'll say that. I'm open to dating.
Very good. Very good. And this is a goddess, y'all, on the line, okay? A very wonderful catch, okay?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Take
So,
one to know one.
say that again?
I said it takes one to know one.
Oh,
I
Ashe, Queen, Ashe. So, for me personally, I think the biggest revelation for me, and people, and I think some other people can probably attest to this, being in this phase of applying all of this healing work and the things that I've done the past, I would say 8 years up to this point, and being in a healthy, relationship where you're learning to apply all of those things, it's a whole it's a whole nother beast. It really and truly is. And I share this with everybody because I think that I think it's important for people to understand that kind of like my motto, healing is a lifestyle, period. It's you're always evolving. Even when you've done all of this work, that next phase is still work. It's work that feels it's not painful work. It's work that feels rewarding. It's very rewarding, but it's still work. It's still effort. It's not like, we do all this healing work and then ta-da, everything is just great and peaches and cream and, you're going to line up with your boo thing and everything is just going to be great and wonderful. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You're going to be uncomfortable. There are going to be some uncomfortable moments. But those uncomfortable moments won't be painful. And there'll be moments of moments that expand you, and in a very good way. And they'll be full of those uncomfortable moments. Will be full of compassion. So, kind of to your point earlier when you were talking about being in these relationships where partners were not emotionally available, it'll be different. When you line up with when two people line up who have done the work, and you're having those uncomfortable moments where there's emotion and compassion there, and both of you are being very vulnerable and exposing yourselves for the greater good of that relationship and that union. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. And and I'm so grateful and thankful that you called up and shared your experience with us.
My pleasure. I definitely have learned so much from you and others in my tribe that have really taught me about self-love.
Likewise.
And you can't have compassion for anyone if you don't have compassion for yourself.
Ashe.
You can't tell anyone how to love you if you don't know who you are, because you spend too much time looking for the next relationship, looking for somebody else to make you feel good about yourself. When you stop that and pour that love into you and you take the time to understand you, I can then communicate with you what it is that I need more clearly, and I know what love is supposed to feel like, because if I'm loving myself every day and you're not, if I don't feel that same energy back from you, something is off.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you for dropping those nuggets with us, Goddess. Ashe. I share those sentiments with you. Right back at you, Queen.
Thank you. Love your show, and I will keep on listening. Appreciate you.
Thank you, my love.
Okay.
All right, bye. Dang, you hung up on my guest.
Yeah, she said bye. She said
Sorry,
bye.
honey.
She
He
said
hit
bye.
the button and hung up on you so soon.
Nuh-uh. She was hanging up on
I
you.
love you. Smooches.
Yeah.
I say, you hung up on my goddess sister.
The goddess.
All right, family. So those are some good points that Shahani put out, and I completely forgot about that. The work, we numb out to work, y'all. We really do. So, y'all, I cannot believe it's almost to the end of my show, but I want to talk about these 5 love languages, y'all. So, Dr. Gary Chapman, There are 5 love languages that he identified, and this is how most people feel and show love with one another in partnerships, in relationships. So, number 1, the first one, and these aren't in any particular order, it's just 5 of them. And what you do is, well, let me list them. Acts of service, is 1. Quality time is 1. Words of affirmation is 1. Physical touch is 1. Gifts is number 5. Yes. Acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, and gifts. Now, how do you know what your love language is? Well, thankfully, Dr. Gary Chapman has created this little quiz on his website. You can just Google the 5 love languages. Take a quiz. The quiz is a series of questions that you answer honestly how you feel about that question. It'll give you a choice of 2, and it'll ask you which one resonates most with you. And so at the end of the quiz, it'll tally up your responses, and it'll tell you which love languages are your primary way that you feel loved, that make you feel loved, okay? Now, here's the caveat to love languages. First of all, I think this is a phenomenal tool. I know that understanding and knowing these love languages has really, really helped and saved a whole lot of relationships. Let me just say that, y'all. I think it has. I think that it's a tool that allows couples, partners, to be able to communicate with each other and to help better understand how that person thinks and why that person does what they do. So the caveat, as I said, to a love language is that whatever your love language is, it may not be that other person's love language. Let's just say your love language is acts of service, but your partner's love language, let's say your partner's love language is acts of service. And let's say your love language is physical touch. Okay? If your partner is showing you love, if they're doing things, so an example of acts of service may be cleaning up the house, or putting gas in your car, or let's see, or making your spouse or your partner breakfast every morning. So that person may be doing that thing for you all the time, but you don't feel loved because your love language is physical touch. So knowing this about each other helps you to pivot. It helps you to really understand that person, and you've got to pivot and say, okay, my partner's love language is physical touch. So I have to make the effort to touch my partner because that is how they feel loved. Vice versa. If your partner's love language is acts of service and your love language is physical touch, you're touching them all the time. Give me a hug, baby. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let me touch you. Let me hold your hand. And they're like, oh my God. That is not what I want. That does not make me feel loved. I mean, they may not be like, if they are, that's probably not the person for you. Because at the end of the day, we do all like those. We all like the love languages. We all want to experience all 5 of them. But there's usually 2 or 3 that weigh heavily than the others. So, as I said, you're constantly touching on this person, but their love language is acts of service. So they're looking for you to show them that you love them and they're looking to feel loved by you doing little things that show them, doing those little acts of service that helps them to feel loved by you. I think that this is a game changer, and I think that this is so important for two people in relationships to understand. I really, really, really do. So examples of these love languages, acts of service, like I said, it can be, anything from putting gas in the car. My brother Jamel Jackson, he did a survey in the mall where he was asking people, what is your idea of romance? And a lot of people said, oh, going out to dinner, and some people said getting gifts, and one woman said putting gas in my car. So, you see the different love languages, how people feel loved and what's romantic for people. Going out to dinner, that would be classified as quality time. Getting gifts or buying them a nice gift that's romantic to them. That's what makes them feel love. That's the love language of receiving gifts. Putting gas in the car, that's an act of service. That's how that person feels loved. Quality time is just being around each other, being, in the same home with each other. You don't even have to be doing anything. Just being with that person. Words of affirmation. That is, that's letting that person know, verbalizing how you feel, communicating, and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm in a loss of word. Affirming what you love about that person, affirming what you like about that person. That's a love language. That is a love language. Some people don't need that. Some people are very kind of, I guess the word I'm looking for is humble, or what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? They don't like all that attention. They don't like that. They don't like for you to say things to them and gloat over them and boast over them. And some people do. That's their love language. Baby, you make me so happy. I love being with you. They like to hear it. By the way, that's my top affirmation. My top love language, y'all. In case y'all didn't know. So, y'all tell me, never mind, moving on. Physical touch is a love language. Some people love to be touched. Other people don't, y'all. So it's important to know that about yourself, and it's important to know that about your partner. It's more important to know it about yourself. Remember, all this starts with yourself, family, okay? Because to Shahani's point, when she called in, if you don't know how to love yourself and know what does it for you, you don't know how to express that to your partner, the person you're with. And gifts, finally, that's the fifth one. That was another one. Gifts. People feel loved by receiving gifts. Now, here's another thing about these love languages. It can change over time as you evolve into yourself, as you grow, and as you become more in tune with who you are, as you become your most authentic self, your love languages can change. That happened to me. So it's not a bad idea to take this quiz regularly. Now, I wouldn't say take it every month, but maybe, I don't know, whatever works for you and your partner, whatever you decide on. But I would say definitely use these 5 love languages as a tool in your relationships and as a tool for yourself, just to know yourself better. This is all about self-discovery and self-awareness. So when I talked earlier about phase 2, was it phase 2? Yeah, phase 2 of doing the work. This is a part of doing the work. Things like this, getting to know who you are. That is the work, family. All right, y'all. Woo! This has been so good and so wonderful. I have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with y'all today. I have enjoyed this conversation. I always enjoy showing up and sharing space and holding space with you, family, and having these uncomfortable but much needed conversations, family. So Miss LaCour Monet is off this week, y'all. She is.
The podcast is coming up.
The podcast is coming up. Which one?
Oh God! Oh my God! I can't think of her name. The podcast is coming up. Oh my God! Miss Wanda.
Miss
Wanda.
Wanda's.
The podcast show is coming next. Yes.
Miss Wanda and the podcast show is coming
And she's
up
talking about tough
next. Ooh, and she's talking about tough love. So that's a great follow-up to this show. So make sure y'all keep it locked right here on iHeartRadio's atltalks.com, y'all. I mean, you can't go anywhere else and get this kind of conversation and get this kind of wisdom and insight and knowledge and have these great conversations, y'all. You just, I don't know. I don't know where you can get it at. So y'all keep it locked, family. I love y'all. Peace and abundance, family. Y'all go forth and shine on purpose, and I will see y'all next Sunday. Same time, same place. Peace and abundance, family. Love y'all.